Hello everyone, welcome back to this series on moving your family to Ireland step by step. This is part 4. If you haven't joined this series previously, I've made part 1, 2, 3, and this is number 4. Number 4 is going to be about how to draft your letters for joint family visas, all the letters you need, how to draft them correctly. And it's not only going to be on drafting letters. You are going to see a sample of the online visa application form, another sample of the online visa summary form, and the questionnaire that you need to fill online as well. I'm going to show you what that looks like, and on the application form what it is like for adults and what it is like for kids, so you don't make any mistakes, because if you make any mistake with your application, there could be additional delays depending on processing times in your home country. So you need to make sure there is no mistake. So eventually when your application is reviewed, you are going to get your visa immediately. You are going to get your visa. So that's the basis of this, so that you can avoid any delay that might be with your application. So the first thing you need to know is that we are going to be talking about the sponsor's letter of invitation for Irish joint family visas. I talked about sponsors when I was explaining part 1 of this series. So your sponsor is the person in Ireland that is sponsoring you for joint family visas, and that is long stay visas, and you are the immediate partner of your sponsor. So your sponsor, that is your spouse already living in the country, needs to send you a letter of invitation as part of your application. So you are going to see what that looks like as well. So spouse's letter of application, you as a partner joining your spouse in Ireland, you need to write a letter of application for joint family visa. You will see a draft of that as well. And your spouse that is in Ireland already, if you are going to be traveling with kids less than 18 years of age, you need a consent from the other parent, because as a partner you can't just travel with any kid or any child that hasn't reached age of maturity. You need a consent of the other parent as well. So that is why your sponsor also needs to add a letter of consent in addition to the letter of invitation for joint family visa. It's part of the documents that you need. If you watch part 3, I mentioned specifically all the documents that you need in details and how you would avoid any mistakes with that. Then you will be seeing the sample filled online visa application form for adults, and for kids, just as I mentioned, the questionnaire that you need to fill as well. That is compulsory. You need to fill that as part of your application. Each person needs a questionnaire, visa questionnaire. Each of the children that is going to travel with you, they also need their own visa application forms, and they need their own visa application summary form as well. Now there is a guideline, just in case if you have another sponsor that wants to use official letter-headed papers, or you're under sponsorship or something like that. All letters submitted from a business company or other organizations must be on official letter-headed paper, so they can be verified, and they must show the organization's full name, the organization's postal address, telephone number, fixed line, not mobile like landline. They must show that letter. Also must show the website address and email address as well. It should be official, that is, it should bear the website name. The website is going to be, for example, my website is adebusolaowokole.com. That's www.adebusolaowokole.com. Then the official email to that is going to be something like info@adebusolaowokole.com. So those are the kind of emails they want to see. That is only if your sponsor is someone, or maybe it's a bank or a company, or maybe your business network or things like that. But for your spouse, you don't need letter-headed paper. It's just going to be a plain one on an A4 paper, typed, signed, and dated. Now let's start this so that you can get things correctly as much as possible. And again, on the official letter header paper, you also need the details of the contact person, the title and position of that person. You need the written signature, not the electronic signature. That's you just, if you're editing PDF documents online, there is a way you could put your signature on that, or you're using an iPhone or a tablet, there's a way you could use an electronic signature. So it's not acceptable for visa purposes. You need written signature, and the visa officer would consider each application on its merits and may request for additional information. So the basis of this series that I'm doing is that so you can get everything correctly, you definitely need to watch the part 1, 2, 3, and then now 4. There is still going to be another one after this. I will explain to you that is going to be the last one anyway. Now, if you applying for visa on behalf of a child, your spouse, or your partner in your home country is going to be bringing your kids, and those kids are under 18, then you need to submit their birth certificates with their application. Like I mentioned earlier on, that is attested by the Ministry of Affairs in your home country. And the spouse, the sponsoring parent, needs a letter of consent to allow you to travel with the kids. If your kids are extremely small, and maybe you think maybe your partner, you are the mother, you are in Ireland already, and your husband wants to come with the kids, and the kids are only few months old, something like that, or small, you don't need a letter of consent. You need to travel down, all the way down to that country. If it's Nigeria, for example, you need to go down, and all of you can come together when the visa is approved for your partner. All of you can come together. In that case, when the kids are extremely small and you really want to travel with them as well, you can travel down and bring them eventually, but you still need definitely to write your letter of invitation anyway. So consenting letter, it means you're not traveling with them. Your husband or your wife or your spouse is going to bring the kids over with him or her. So then that is why you need a consenting letter, because they might ask at the immigration who owns these kids, where is the letter of backing and stuff like that. And if your visa is approved, definitely they know you would have presented a consent. You would have presented a consent, and you might still hold a copy in your hand just in case for immigration purposes. Now, so this signed consent must be accompanied by the copies of the parenting consent, legal guardians, passports, or national ID cards, which clearly show their signature. In this case, preferable to use international passports. If the child is traveling with one parent or legal guardian, the consent of the other parent or legal guardian is required. This signed consent must be accompanied by a copy of the consenting parent or legal guardian's passport, just as I mentioned earlier on. So on court orders where one parent has sole custody, for example, that parent hasn't been living with the other partner yet, you might need a legal document. A legal document that authorizes you, that shows the proof that that kid has been living with you and you have the sole custody of the child. You don't need any consent from anyone to authorize to move your kid or to travel with your kid. So that is sole custody, is a court injunction that you need to provide. Now, on sponsorship, so as a spouse, as a partner that you want to join your spouse to Ireland, what you need to know is that your sponsor needs to write you a letter of invitation as part of the required document, and it's going to be like the way I'm showing on my screen. This address on the left hand side depends on the embassy you are using. If you're using the embassy in Nigeria, there are two offices. One is in Abuja and one is in Lagos. So you could use the Lagos office, you could use the Abuja office. Even the application in Lagos is still going to be transferred to Abuja, just to be on the safe side, so you can use that. Or updated addresses might be on their website, on VFS Global website if you are in Africa, so you can use that as well. And the other thing, dear sir, ma'am, when you write that, just here, dear sir or / ma'am, then you can write the heading here, before you write anything else, it's going to be letter of invitation, simply letter of invitation. There's no need to write anything else, just put letter of invitation. And this is the first part. Hi, your first name, your middle name, and your last name, exactly as it is on your passport. Or if you only have a first name and a last name on your passport, then you need two names. So I, so and so, you put your full name and your date of birth. After that, day, month, year, that is going to be 00/00/0000. So that is just an example. And holder of the Nigerian passport, if you are Indian, you can put it here. Or if you are from the Philippines, if you are from Ghana, if you're from any other country, just make sure you put the country. So that's why those things that I put in red, you need to change them to the values, to the exact values that they should be. And if you see the ones in blue as well, those ones needs to be changed as well. Passport, no, anything in black, you can leave it as it is. Passport, then you enter the passport number here, issued in, and here you need to insert the place of issue. That should be in red actually. So insert place of issue. So being in red doesn't mean that you will leave it in red before you print it out. That's just a guide so that you won't miss out, and you would really know where to put things and where to put your own exact value. So place of issue, then country, you put your country. When you put a place of issue, is going to be the place, that's the state, and the country. For example, if your passport is showing that it was issued in Lagos, Nigeria, then you put Lagos, Nigeria here on. You insert your date of issue, and you've resided in Ireland for the past, insert the number of months. It could be 3 months, it could be 4 months, it could be 2 months, depending on how you stayed, how long you have stayed in Ireland, or any weeks that you want to get your, provided you have the stamp. So you can bring your family. The joint family visas for reunification of family in Ireland, it's immediate family reunification. Other countries, the Embassy of Ireland in other countries, they process that in 2 weeks. But in Nigeria, 3 countries, Nigeria processes for Ghana, for Senegal, and for Ivory Coast. So those 3 countries, and for Nigeria as well, they've been experiencing significant delays, and there are current issues ongoing on that. But if you apply anywhere else aside those, it's going to be 2 weeks. The processing time is going to be 2 weeks. So make sure you put the number of time, the number of months or weeks or days you've been in Ireland, and you are a critical skills permit holder. If you have a general employment permit holder, everyone with general employment permit, they can bring their family after 1 year of stay in Ireland. But critical skills, they can apply even after 1 day of holding that critical skills. So with a stamp 1 permission, this is an example of the immigration permission that is going to be on your stamp. If you are in Ireland already, you need to check your stamp, and it could be a stamp 4 that you have. Let it be on that invitation letter, immigration permission. Then you put your Irish resident permit number. Usually before it was bearing, that was GNIB, or that is your residency proof. You have the number because you've already registered with immigration. Then you put the number here, and then you include, please find and enclose photocopies of my IRP card or GNIB card on passport pages. Those things are going to be part of the documentation. So you don't need to attach them to this letter really, because the visa officer is going to find them. And the passport page is showing current stamp, so you need to indicate that as well. I am presently employed as, here you put your position. If your position is a locum doctor, if it's a contract doctor, if it's a staff nurse, if it is a carer, you put that as well, or healthcare assistant, you can put that. With hospital name, you can put that here as well. And I reside at home address, you put your home address, and how long you've been in that place, you put that as well. And you should confirm a statement of confirmation that you've invited your spouse, and you need to insert the relationship. If it's a husband, if it's your wife, you need to put that here, and the first name of the person you have invited, middle name and last name. and you have to put it. If they only have first name and last name on their passport, then let it be exactly as it is, and the title, if it's Mr., Mrs., doctor, engineer, whatever it is, you need to put the title into bracket, and then DOB of the person you have invited, because they would verify everything related. So you put it here, Nigerian passport number or Indian passport number, you put it here, and then type of visa, that is going to be long stay joint family visa. Long stay, if you are the spouse, then you are joining permanently, so it's going to be long stay joint family visa. And your children, if you have kids, if you don't have, you can leave out this paragraph completely. And your kids, you can mention them as well, their names and their DOB. So this is a guide, and after that, insert relationship, just a statement that they will be residing at your residence and you will be sponsoring them temporarily. That is just what the visa officer wants to know. My husband or my wife and kids, if necessary, it will be accommodated at my residence. The address above, you can duplicate that address here, and she or he or they will be financially supported by me, flight tickets and living costs included. So you need to put that as well. When you put that, the visa officer would go through all the other supporting documentation that has been included, and then a statement that you guarantee that they will observe the conditions of their visa and they will leave Ireland on expiry of their permission. This is not necessary because you are definitely not going to leave, but your permission of stay, you keep renewing that every year or every 2 years as applicable. So but you need a statement that you won't overstay your permission if any of your letters or documents is expired. You just need a statement to show that. So that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go back home. And then another statement, I also undertake that they will not become a financial liability to the state. And for any further clarification, I can be contacted by phone or via email. Sincerely, you put your own first name, middle name and last name, or first name and last name, your mobile number. Make sure you begin with a plus, country code. If it's +234, if it is +353, put that as well. And your email address, insert the email address here. And eventually, after doing that, make sure you put the date, the month and the year. If today is 11th, for example, you put 1/1 and you put the month and you put the year here. Now, on spouse's letter of application for joint family visa, now your spouse, your partner in Ireland, that's your sponsor, has written a letter of invitation. Then you need to write a letter of application yourself. So you need a letter of application yourself. Then you need to include your full contact details. You need to outline the reason why you want to come to Ireland. You need to provide details of the family member who is going to sponsor you, and you need to give details of any other members that you have if they are currently in Ireland or you have in other European countries. And you need to state that if not applicable to you, you can leave that out completely. And this is how your draft is going to be. Letter of application, month, day, year. You just insert the embassy address. You might need to take a pen and write this out before you make your application, and then you can fill that with your exact details. So Embassy of Ireland, this is just an example. Depending on the consulate you are using, dear visa officer, letter of application, your first name, your middle name, your last name, and your title, holder of the Nigerian passport, you mentioned that, issued and mention the place of issue, on mention the date of issue, wish to apply for a joint family visa to Ireland, and that is a statement of the type of visa you're applying for, and a statement of what you are doing currently as well. I'm currently employed, with applicant's employer name and address, and because as at the time of this application, you are not going to resign yet, since it's a joint family visa. Make sure you don't resign yet, and eventually when your application is in progress, then you can resign. So, and you're currently employed. If you are a self-business owner, you need to mention that I'm a self-business owner. You mention the details of the job you are doing. If you have an employer, mention the name and address and mention your occupation as well. And you need another paragraph that explains your purpose and the details of the person you are joining. The purpose of my visa is to join my wife, is to join my husband. Mention the sponsor's first name, middle name, last name, or as their name should be on their passport, date of birth as well, and holder of what kind of passport they have. Your spouse could be another citizen of another country. You can mention the passport number issued in. You insert the place of issue here and country on so and so dates. You need to put the country, and then let the visa officer know how long the person has been in Ireland, if it's for days or weeks or months. If the person is a critical skills or general employment permit holder, you need to state that as well. So it's either of the two. You can say if it's your wife, she's a critical skills permit holder, you don't put the two, only one of the two, depending on the permit that your spouse have. And with a stamp 1 or stamp 4 immigration permission, usually it's a stamp 1, people coming in, it depends anyway. And then after 2 years you can get a stamp 4. If you are on critical skills, you should be on a stamp 1, and then after initial 2 years you move to a stamp 4. That means you no longer need an employment permit to work in Ireland. You can work in Ireland. And then the immigration permission, you put the details here, and the details of their current employment. Is presently employed as, you put a position, you put the hospital details, or you put the employment details, and residing at, include the home address and the number of months or weeks or days, how long they've been in that as well. And you still need to put a statement that you guarantee that you will observe the conditions of your visa and you would leave Ireland on expiry of your permission to remain. You also undertake that you will not be become a financial liability to the state. And for further clarifications, you can be contacted by phone or by email. And that's it. Thank you for your assistance in this matter. Then you put a statement of yours truly, your first name, your middle name, and last name, because names in Ireland, they begin with first names. That is why you're using that format. So you can put it like that. Your mobile number and your email address, you insert that as well. So if you've done your letter of application correctly, that's perfect. And if you've done your invitation letter, sponsor's invitation letter, if you have that correct as well, that is really, really good. Then the other thing you need to know is the sponsor's letter of consent to allow spouse to travel with kids. So make sure that any letter you are writing always have disclosure, day, month, and year at the back of it as well. So now the consent letter to travel, to allow your spouse to travel with your kids if they are below 18 years of age, and it's going to be like this: month, day, year. As always, insert the embassy address here, depending on the consulate, their visa officer. Then it's going to be letter of consent. You as the spouse, you as the sponsor, you are the one writing this letter. Your name, your full name, your title. I am the mother of our son. If you have 2 kids, you need to mention them. I am the mother of our children, or our sons, or our son and daughter. You need to mention that. Depends, or if it's a daughter, you mention that as well. Full name of the child, you mention that, and the gender. Born on, insert the date of birth and passport number, and insert passport number here, and expiry date of passports. Put that, day, month, and year, and traveling to the Republic of Ireland. So if it's more than a kid, you can add and mention the other name of the child and repeat this exact information like that. Then you can say traveling to the Republic of Ireland to travel under the supervision of my husband, or if you are the wife or my wife, who is also their father or their mother, depending on the relationship. Insert the full name of the person that they are traveling with. Insert the full name of the person that you're traveling with. And you should also, I would recommend that you include the passport details of the person they are traveling with as well, and date of birth. And then you mention a statement, just I give my consent for the aforementioned child to travel to the Republic of Ireland, or whatever country it is, departing on the, you put the day, month, and year of departure. Now, for visa purposes, it's recommended that you don't put departure as maybe a very close date, just to accommodate visa processing times in your home country. So to accommodate that, you could put 2 months or 3 months duration. It's always advisable to put 3 months duration. The visa officer can consider from their hand. So, but definitely don't put any date that is under 1 month old. Don't put any date that is under 3 months is fine. And as departure, so you can put a date that is on a Saturday, the last Saturday of the 3rd month, as your date of departure. So things might change. You are not going to book any flight yet, but you can put something because they definitely need a date. And then your name as the sponsor, you put it here, your address and your country, because you are writing that, you are the one writing the consenting letter, and include your phone number and include your email address. So that is it. Basically, letter of consent is beautifully written, and you can write also, you can add this, thank you for your assistance in this matter, or you can leave it out completely and just include all of these details only. So that is fine, whichever way you prefer to do that. 2 ways of doing it. And now I'm going to show you the sample visa application form. When you select the link, I mentioned the link when I was explaining the part 1 of this series, links that you can visit to begin your application. You definitely need online visa application. If you're traveling with kids, each of those kids, they need to fill their own visa application. Definitely they can fill it themselves. It's the partner that is going to fill it for them. So this thing, each person needs to fill visa application form. Each person needs to fill visa questionnaires. It's always a cause of delay when people get to the embassy and they send them back to go and produce a questionnaire, and to go and produce a visa application form, and to go and produce the visa summary. So 3 documents from online when you make the application before you pay your fees, before you go back to the fees to book an before you go back to the embassy and book an appointment to submit your documentation. When you fill the form online, you will be it will be generated, the visa application form. You need to print that. Then you need to print the visa questionnaire so that you can fill and type and sign. And you need to fill the visa summary form as well. So the visa summary, that's of the form you have filled, it's going to be auto-generated. You need to print it out, and that needs to be signed. So you need 3 of those. If your spouse has 2 kids, you need 3 forms, 3 visa application forms, 3 questionnaires, and 3 visa summary forms. So those 3, I'm going to show you what they look like. I'm going to show you what they look like. So when you visit the link to apply for your visa registration, you are going to see a page like this. All questions with this online application are in English and must be answered in English. So you can have help tips if you want. You may need to print, you definitely need to print a summary of your application form as a part of the process, and you need to print that from a computer. So you can't fill that form on a phone. You need to use a computer to do that, and I don't want you to make mistakes. That is why I'm just showing everyone this, and I will show you visa application form by 2, like if the adult is filling, your spouse, and if you are filling for your kids, one of your kids, for example. I will show you what that looks, just a summary of the application form as well. So you will see this information before you start filling. Have all these details to hand. That is your passport, details of any previous passport, because you don't want to go, maybe for example you're going to do that in a cyber cafe and you've forgotten all of this and you need to run back home to go and get all the details to fill everything in. So you need the details of any previous Irish visa, clearance, pre-clearance applications. You need details of previous visa refusals. You need details of any criminal convictions or pending charges. You need details for your host in Ireland or your sponsor. You need the travel itinerary of your trip. the date of departure, basically. The date of departure, basically. So you are going to see that, and during the application process, you can save your application, you can exit the online form, you can return later to complete that. It has to be within 30 days. After 30 days, you can't edit that anymore. So if you want to do it on time, get all the things you require. That is why I want to show you what the form, what it looks like. So following submission of your online application, you'll be required to submit a signed summary of the form and the original passport. You need to add that. It's part of the supporting documentations that I have mentioned earlier on. Now let me show you what one of the forms look like. This is a sample of the form for adults. So when you start your online application form, your visa application form online, you will see something like this. This unique transaction number is going to be generated here automatically. So that is erased. This form was initially filled. I've removed all numbers that due to GDPR reasons. So the transaction number is going to be here. You need to write that down for each person you are applying for. Details: what type of visa are you applying for? You select long stay, that is category D. Journey type is single because it's permanent, you come in permanently. The reason for travel, so this is for the adult. The spouse is going to choose joint family, non-European national spouse. So that is what you are going to select. The type of your passport that you're going to choose is internationally recognized travel document. There's going to be a selection button, and you will definitely need to choose the correct option. So passport type, you're selecting internationally recognized document. This is travel document number. That is straightforward. That is your passport details. Proposed dates you wish to enter and leave Ireland. So dates that you wish to enter Ireland, you can put the dates you put on the application letter. That is given. It's always wise to give 3 months interval. For example, the last day, maybe last Saturday of that third month, you can put it here, but leave Ireland date, leave it blank. It's not going to be a compulsory question because you don't know that. Definitely you are not going to leave, so you don't need to put anything on that. It's not compulsory unless the question is compulsory. Then personal details, that's straightforward. Your name, that's your surname, is your last name. Forename is your first name, the name every person knows you by. Other name is your middle name. Your DOB, you put it there, and your gender, you put it as well. Your nationality, if it's another country, you put it. Current location, the country, you put it. Address, verifiable address, you need to put that as well. You don't need to fill all the 4 lines. Address line 1 and 2 is okay. If your address is too long, that's contact phone, you put it as well. Your email, you can put that. So those are straightforward. Length of residence, this is the address that you put here. How long have you been living in that residence that you put here? Is home address. Basically, it's not going to be, doesn't necessarily need to be postal address or something, but let it be an address where you can receive documents in case they are going to send your document to that. So you put it as well. And length of residence, how long you've been in that. Then do you have your permission to return to that country after your stay in Ireland? It's a yes, because you definitely should have a permission to return to your country after your stay in Ireland. Have you applied for an Irish visa before? No or yes, depending on if that's applicable to you. That is a personal question. Have you ever been issued an Irish visa? That is a no. If you haven't, if you have, say yes. If you have, then you need to provide your application reference number for previous one. If you have been refused an Irish visa before, you can select a yes. But if you haven't been refused a visa before, you can select no. If yes, then you will have to provide additional information. If no, you have to proceed. Then have you ever been in Ireland before? That's a no. And do you have family members in Ireland? Yes, definitely, because your sponsor is in Ireland. So the person that is sponsoring you, or the family member that is inviting you, you can put it here, surname, family name as it is on passport, the 4 names as it is on passport. You can put it DOB, you can put it forename is the first name of the person, you can put that. Date of relationship, date of birth, you put that. Relationship to you is your spouse, so you can put that. So Department of Justice reference number of family member, if it's applicable, you can put that. Department of Justice could be your critical skills number, you can put that if applicable. If not, just leave it blank. Have you ever been refused permission to enter Ireland before? That is personal question. Definitely it's a no. Have you ever been notified of a deportation order to leave Ireland? That's a no. Have you ever been refused a visa to another country? That's a no, unless that's applicable to you. Have you ever been refused entry to, deported from, or otherwise required to leave another country? That is a no. If yes to any of the above, you need to give details. Have you any criminal convictions in any other country? That's a no. Then passport details, so you need to put that as well. So make sure that passport details, you put your passport details, you put the date of issue. Sorry, now I just need to double check. Yes. So type of travel document, you put everything here, so that is your own details, you need to put that. And is this your first passport? If no, you will definitely need to provide additional details of all your passports that you have in the past. So you need to provide the document number, the issuing authority, if it's Abuja, Nigeria, or Lagos, Nigeria, or whatever it is in your country. You need to put that the issue date and expiry date for all your passports, and there is always going to be a button to add more if you have more. Then employment or college details, that means if you are currently employed in your country of residence, then you need to put that. That's a yes. Duration of employment, you can put in your last employment or current one. Position held, you can put your position, your work address, because they might need to verify that as well. So you need to put that. If that is not applicable, if you're self-employed, you can always state that you are self-employed and also give details. Are you a current student? Some people, if you are also a student in your country, you can put that. This is just to make sure that the visa officer can confirm that at the end of your permission, you still have things to return to in the country, and you're not going to be a liability. Now, on traveling with others, you can put this. Will you be traveling with any person? Yes, definitely. Yes, if you are going to be traveling with kids, then you need to give their names, their full names, and their relationship. If it's a daughter, if it's a son, you put all their names. The others, whatever is not applicable, you can leave them blank. You don't need to fill everything in. You can leave them blank. Now, the contact details of your host in Ireland, that is for your sponsor, you need to find their phone number, their email address, and their home address as well. You need to put that, and their contact phone and every other thing. And the contact host in Ireland, your sponsor is in Ireland, you need to put their full names as it is on their passport, their country of citizenship, their own occupation, and relationship to you. If it's your wife, if it's your husband, if it's spouse, you can just put spouse. Then Department of Justice reference number, you need to put this as well. They have it on their document. They have it on their document, which is the critical skills permit. It is on that as well. So date of birth is that of your spouse. Email is that of your spouse, which is your sponsor, in Ireland. Now, then this is another, still on your spouses and partners details. Surname, you put the surname, the first name as it is on passports, and other name or maiden name, you can put it here. And then DOB of your sponsor, you put it, passport number of your sponsor, gender of your sponsor, you put that as well. And in what country do they live in currently, or is your spouse or your partner traveling with you? The purpose of this question basically is because some people may have another sponsor entirely and yet they are still married, so they want to capture all those information. Some of those things on the form would be repeated. That is why. Then how many dependent children do you have? They want to know if you have kids and If you have kids, then you need to provide their details. On the online form, there is a slot for 6 kids to be included, so you can leave everything else blank. If you have only one kid, you put their details: surname, forename, DOB, gender, nationality. Is this child traveling with you? If yes, on passport. If yes, they might ask for additional details on the child of the kid's passport, and that is it for 6 kids. But you leave others blank if they are not applicable. And just down the bottom of the form, you are going to see something like, did you receive any assistance in completing this form? Definitely, if you did everything yourself, it's a no. If someone else helped you, then you have to put, maybe an agency helped you to fill the form. You have this form. If you select a yes, it's going to bring up another form entirely that you need to provide details as much as possible. So it's always better to say no. You did that yourself. You did that yourself, because it shouldn't be difficult anyway. That's why we're going through that. Then this is a sample for adults, and then I'll show you a sample for kids. This is a sample of a kids application form. So the reference number is going to be included here automatically. You need to note that it's the same online application form, but some questions might be a little bit different. So you're applying for your kids, for example, this is your first child, and you want to select the type of visa. It's going to be long stay, category D. Journey type is single. Reason for travel: joint family, non-EA national. And purpose of travel: I am traveling to Ireland to join my mother, who is already living in Ireland. I am her first son. So that is it, because this is for a child, so you need to put something related to kids as well. Passport type: internationally recognized document, and you put all the details: name, passport number, everything, nationality, and home address, contact details. Contact details could be that of the parents. It could be the same home address as the parents, so that doesn't really matter. Like I explained previously, these are other questions that are personal. Do you have permission to return to that country after you stay in Ireland? Yes, you should have permission to return to your country. That is, you are not on exile in your home country, or you don't have a criminal conviction. That is what that literally means. And then, do you have family members living in Ireland? That is definitely going to be a yes, because you are joining someone, and you already said at the start that you are a first son. So you need to provide the details of the person that is that you will be joining as well. If you don't know anything else, just take them off completely. Definitely, you need to provide Department of Justice reference number, which is going to be on the critical skills, because that is the basis of joint family. They need the evidence. They will trace the records just to make sure that your sponsor has permission to move you as under that category you are applying for. So that is it basically, and every other question should be straightforward. This is a kids form. So have you any criminal convictions? No. Passport details, that's your own the kids passport details. Travel document: internationally recognized document. Authority or slash type, that is the place of issue slash country of issue. Date of issue, date of expiry. Is this your first passport? That could be a yes for the kids. It could be a yes for the kids. And everything else: are you currently a student in your country? For kids, if they are going to school, that should be a yes as well. The name of their school: if it's primary school, you need to put the details of that school here. And will you be traveling with any other person? For kids, definitely that should be a yes, because then the person you're traveling with, if this is a form that was filled for one of my kids, for example, so definitely he was traveling with his dad and his junior brother. So for kids, you have to mention everyone they are traveling with. So there is another brother here, and the name has to be filled, and the name has to come up as well. So you need to take note of that. Then another thing: contact host in Ireland is going to be the sponsor. One of the parents is going to be one of the parents in Ireland. Then, is the contact host personally known to you? Yes, you have to put yes. Their details, occupation, relationship to you. If it's your mom that is sponsoring you, that is a mother or father, depending on the sponsor in Ireland. So you need to put that as well, and put all the details as much as possible, and every other thing should be fine. Then for kids, when you get to the children's details, how many dependent children do you have? Remember that this is a kid. You are filling this for one of your one of your kids. What you are going to put here is 0. How many dependent children? Because definitely maybe a 10-year-old can't have another kid, so it's going to be 0, because that is for kids. There is a space for 6 kids on that form. Just leave everything blank because they are not applicable. Then in this, did you receive any assistance in completing this form from an agent or agency? Because you feel this for your kid, it's going to be a yes. So name of person, full name of the person filling that, one of the parents obviously, maybe the partner that is joining, the full name is going to be here. The name, you can put father or the relationship, and the address and the contact phone. So simple as that. That is a sample of a filled online application form for your kid, and I am also going to show you how the visa questionnaire, what it looks like, what the visa questionnaire looks like, because with each application there has to be a questionnaire. You need to fill a visa questionnaire online, print it out and sign, because electronic signature is not acceptable. So it's going to be on the visa portal. You need to fill this as well. So when you print it out, all questions should be completed in English, and it's just basically a questionnaire that talks about your personal details and your consent. So name, as it is in passport, you put this: is this your first passport, yes or no? Gender, male or female, you just tick, just to tick basically. Marital status, for kids it's going to be single. For kids it's going to be single. And for kids, this questionnaire, spouse's name is going to be not applicable, because they are not married. If someone is single as well, this part is not applicable with any. So date of birth, other spouses information if applicable, and the current address. So this info here is for your spouse. So if you are filling a questionnaire for kids, those places should be not applicable. So then this is father's name, mother's name, and the kid's name as well. So this is your own name, this is your spouse's name, that is your sponsor, and all the kids that you have. If you have more, if you have other dependent children, you need to state them as well. This is your immigration and travel history. If you've traveled to other countries in the past, if yes, you tick a yes. If no, you tick a no. And countries, mention the dates. Mention the dates. If you've been refused a visa, you need the original letter of refusal, because they want to see that as well. And failure to mention any previous visa refusals for Ireland or any other country may result in a permanent ban. May result in a permanent ban for 5 years to any place in Europe. Now, assistance. Did you receive any assistance from any other person in completing this application? For the adults, for your partner, that is going to be no. But for the kids, that is going to be yes, because definitely the parents should be filling that form for them and all their details. Relationship, that's parent or father or mother, and that form should be signed. That should be signed by the adults providing the assistance as well. Then what else I'm going to show you is the summary form, the visa summary form. So after completing your online application form, you also need to print out that online application form, and for each applicant, and you also need to print out the visa summary form. You need to print out the visa summary form for each person, So the first thing you need to do, this is how the form is going to look like. You've already filled out the information online, so this is going to be auto generated. So Your type of visa is going to be here. The journey type is going to be here. The category is going to be here. Joint family, spouse, stuff like that. Your name, the name you've provided on your form would automatically show here. The forename is your first name. Other names, that's your middle name, DOB, gender, nationality, and all your passport details. They will automatically show up on this visa summary form, and the address that you've put and the consulate to which that application has been sent. If it shows this, then it means that your application is going to be processed in Nigeria, for example. If your application shows Dublin, definitely it won't show Dublin if you are applying from a place from Nigeria, joint family visa. If it shows Dublin or other countries, then that application has been sent to that embassy, consulate. They approve visas in that place. So any delay is going to be with the consulate that is showing on your screen. Any delay is going to be with that consulate that is showing on your screen. Despite any delays or processing time, you still want to get it right. You don't want your application to be assessed after many months, and then eventually they come back to tell you that you need to provide additional documentation because you want to get that visa on first assessment. So this summary sheet is going to have declaration by applicant, and you need to go through all that and then eventually sign. For the kids summary form, it's the parent that needs to sign for them, and the parent needs to put the relationship, and the date of application should be here as well. So basically that is it on part 4, which is moving your family to Ireland step by step. And we've seen how to draft all your required letters correctly, your spouse's letter of invitation, your own letter of application for joint family visa, and your sponsor's letter of consent to allow you to travel with kids. And you've already seen sample application forms, the summary, and the questionnaire as well. And hopefully everything would be correct. Then there is still going to be one last part to this series, which is going to be a checklist and how to arrange your documents after getting everything correctly, how to organize your document, how to arrange your documents, and what to do on arrival for your spouse. That is it. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give a like to this video. Let me see your comments. Show a word of appreciation for all the efforts that is gone in to do those series. And then can't wait to see your family in Ireland. Thank you so much, everyone. See you in the next video. Bye.